I think I'm now live also on LinkedIn. Hello, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and YouTube as well. And of course, on Instagram. So let me try and get all connected. Bear with me. Okay, so here's the topic for those of you that are already joining and watching. What I'm going to be sharing with you is just some information. I'm going to be doing a couple of things. I'm going to give you some updates because I've got a lot of new people that I'm connected with, a lot of new mentees as well, and so I want to just say a bit about myself, give a bit of an update, and then I want to dive into this content, which is the two things that social workers that are either semi-independent or fully independent are not doing, two things that they're not doing, and it's vital, and it is causing them to return to full-time employment. So if you're a social worker that is thinking about independence, trying to go independent, has gone independent but struggling, this is going to be important for you to kind of take note of. So, and I want you to kind of get a pen and paper as well, because this is going to be content that is going to be useful for you and things for you to actually implement and think about getting started on yourself if you're in either of those stages, so semi-independent or fully independent. If you're a social worker that is just thinking about it at the moment, you're not even sure where to start, this is still going to be helpful for you, because I want you to know that this is the things that you absolutely are going to want to be paying attention to, so that you're not in a position where you're going to end up coming out of independence and having to go back to full-time independent. So this is a bit of an impromptu live, but it's important. I felt it was important, and it was just something that's come up in the past few weeks time and time again, and I just really wanted to share some helpful information to you. So with that said, before I start, my name's Nicole. If this is the first time you're catching one of my lives, I can see that some people are live here from Instagram joining me and watching, and I know that we are newly connected, and I have a lot of people in the community that are new to the community as well. So hello and welcome to you on Facebook, and I have lots of new connections on LinkedIn. So a big hello to you also, if you're a social worker. And I just want to let you know that I'm Nicole, and I'm a strategy mentor for social workers, which means I help social workers make a transition from being full-time into full-time independent. So if you're semi-independent or you're just a full-time social worker right now, my role is to nurture and mentor you to full independence, where you're running your own business. So you're not having to deal with high caseloads, you're not having to deal with red tape and the stress of being overworked and overburdened, but rather you're enjoying your social work career again, and you're actually able to make more of an impact to those that you serve, because you're doing independence and doing social work in a way that really fits and sits with your values, and is done in a way where you're enjoying it a lot more, and the way you want to do it. So that's my role. And I'm fully independent. I'm a social worker. My background is frontline child protection, and did that for more than 15 years. And I certainly felt the burnout of it. And so I leapfrogged into independence, didn't have a clue what I was doing, didn't even know what a tax return was. And I managed to generate 6 figures into my business already. And so I'm teaching social workers how they can do the same without the stress and the worry attached to it. So, and being really clear about what they need to do. So I've been consulted with several social workers. If you're seeing this and there's a social worker that you know would benefit from this, please share this, whether you're watching it on the replay or live. Attach people to this live so that they can see it. And if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, just get connected with me on my other platforms. So I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook, Clubhouse, Twitter, even though I never really use Twitter. I'm everywhere, so you can connect with me anywhere, and it's Nicole M. Louis. So let's dive into this content. So there's, first of all, as I said, the purpose of this that I want to share with you really is really being able to talk about the things that I'm noticing. There are two predominant factors. There are always going to be a few other things, but there are two key things that I am noticing social workers are not doing, and it's causing them to go from semi or full-time independent right back to being a full-time employee. Yeah. And though these two things are fatal in terms of, from a business point of view, and being able to have longevity, the reason and the purpose why social workers go into independence is because they want to ditch red tape. They want to ditch the way in which social work is being done ordinarily, and where they're practicing. And so, you know, these are the two things that I'm noticing they're doing. First of all, they're coming out of social work and they're replicating exactly what they were doing, i.e. assessments, and just going out and doing assessments, and that's about it. I'm noticing that they're also providing services that aren't really benefiting the clients. They're not really benefiting the people that they're actually trying to impact and touch. And so the two key things, and I'm going to say in order as well, in terms of the two key things that I've seen that social are not getting, thing is their brand. Understand what are they doing as an independent. The reason why that their brand is so important, and this is something that social workers do not think about at all. They don't think about their brand. They don't think about the fact that they are actually a business, a real business, right? They're just going out there as a social worker, and they think that they're just a social worker. Their identity changes. When you become an independent social worker, your identity changes. And I'll say more so in fully independent rather than a semi-independent, because most semi-independents just really operate in much the same way as a social worker. It's just that they take on more liability, because now they're running a business and they're paying taxes, and if they have somebody help or assist them, they're actually paying staff or contractors, and so there's a lot of ways that they're just taking on liability, as opposed to structuring themselves in a way where they're completely independent and they're actually set up as a business fully. Oftentimes people are getting work for them or providing them work and telling them how to do it, where to do it, and when to do it. So that isn't really full independence, and so the identity hasn't really changed. They still, for the most part, have very much an employee mindset, and they're not really willing oftentimes to tip the balance right into full time. They maybe don't know what to do, similar to other social workers who aren't even semi-independent. You know, they oftentimes struggle to know where to start, what should they be doing, and these are the two key things that often they're missing to really make that transition and that move. So branding is an important thing. And what is branding? Branding is about who you are. What is your identity as a business? What is your identity as an individual? And how are those two merging? You know, what is it that people see and feel when they come into contact with you? And so you've got to be really clear about your messaging. You've got to be clear about what you stand for, who you stand for as well, because then that aligns with the people that you're actually serving and why you want to serve them. So branding is a key thing, and the direct impact on your branding, and I've taken some notes here because there are several things that I want to touch on. I don't want to miss any of them, but it's the branding then impacts your messaging, i.e. your copy. What is the wording that you're going to be putting on your website, on your flyers? What is the wording that you're going to say to explain to people what you do, who you are, and how you help them? Those are some key things that you will want to be looking at. Yeah, so your branding has a direct impact on that. And if your messaging isn't right or isn't hitting the mark, then the people that you're trying to serve are not going to find you. They're not going to come to you, and they're not really going to buy from you, because you haven't educated them on how you're going to actually help them and make a transformation. And so it has a direct impact. It's like a domino effect. And so the branding is really important. The second thing, which is huge, is the infrastructure. And what I mean by the infrastructure, there's so many different moving parts to infrastructure. But one of the key things that is, again, directly correlated with the brand is around your products and your services. Your products and your services is going to be a key part of your infrastructure. And that has a direct impact also, and is correlated with how you show up. So if you're replicating what social services does, nobody wants that out there. Nobody really wants that, right? The reality is they try to avoid social services like the plague. Let's be honest. Yeah. And oftentimes as social workers, when we're going into independent work, it's because we love social work, because we love working with the clients, the people. We want to serve them more. We want to serve them better. And so if we show up like social services, they are highly unlikely to want to work with us. Yeah, we want to be attractive to them because we know what they need, and we know how we can provide what they need and help them get the transformation that they want. And so, having the right infrastructure, i.e. knowing what your services and products are going to be, is going to be really important. It's going to be really, really important to you being able to match it with your messaging, so that when people come to you, you're not just waffling and giving them a lot of promises, but you actually have something that's really going to benefit them and help them. And so those are the two key things that I have seen that social workers who are semi-independent or fully independent miss out. And there are lots of other moving parts to both of those key two areas. And there is a way in which you do them, especially within this industry, and how you're able to show up. And it's important that we're being different. Like when I did the 10-day Get Your Mojo Back challenge, I spoke about the amount of social workers that actually registered here in the UK. We're competing with one another. All of us are doing the same thing. And so it's really important that we're able to have something that differentiates us from everybody else. I was sharing with my client this morning that when I pitched to a school after providing a package, a bespoke service for them, I was shortlisted from hundreds of social workers that were independent. Some of them were organizations, some of them were one-man bands like myself. Okay, and some of them maybe had small teams, but they dwindled down the shortlist to about 4 of us. I was one of them, and I was the one that they chose. They repeated, I rinsed and repeated in terms of what I was able to provide them, but I also looked at what they were missing every time I had an opportunity, and I offered them another bespoke package, and they renewed my contract 8 time I was with over a 4 year is really huge in terms of having that versatility and understanding what a client needs sets you apart. So, if you want to be somebody who's shortlisted out of hundreds of independent social workers because you understand your client, you know what they need, and you know how to deliver it to them in a way that is very different to everyone else. And so it's really important, again, that your branding and your infrastructure, which goes hand in hand, is on point. And this is the thing that I've seen for social work, especially those that are fully independent, that they end up going back into full-time practice. They end up going to full-time social work because they have not got the longevity, because after a while doing reports and assessments, it either dries up because of times like now where we're in COVID, or they're getting so much that actually the amount of money that they need to earn, they're having to do a lot of those assessments and reports, and they're having issues sometimes with getting paid on time or getting paid their worth. And so what ends up happening is that they feel burnout. They feel the burnout just like if they were employed, but the burnout is even greater because, again, they've got more liability. They've got expenses to pay. They've got overheads now to pay. They've got different things that they need to do that they didn't have to think about when they were employed. And so it becomes more stressful and more of a burden. So they end up just returning to full-time social work, even if it's for a season for them to start again. But the reality is, without the knowledge and information as to how to change it, it's unlikely to be any different, right? It's unlikely to be any different. So those are the two key things that I really wanted to share with you about what you need to be thinking about. And if you're interested in understanding and knowing how to actually change it, how to actually if you're in that position where you're semi-independent or fully independent, and you want information, more specific information about what you can do to create a better infrastructure, understand your branding, and to be able to put that forward and translate it into our social work field, so that actually you're setting yourself up very differently to other social workers, then you can join my program right now. It is, I am actually taking students. It's open for enrollment. We begin in beginning of April. So I'm just going to share with you what the screen looks like. So when you go onto the page, and I'll put the page in the description or link it somewhere in the comments, it will look like this. It will look like this when you go into it, and it's very clear about who the program's for, who it's not for. It's a 6-month program, and there's 6 months of support built in. And I've created this specifically for social workers to help you step by step. Each month there's 6 modules, and each month you will actually have a module dropped on the portal, so that you can go in and take action, look at the videos and watch them. I haven't done it on YouTube. Hold on. Here, so I hope you can see that on Instagram. Sorry. You know, this is what it will look like when you go onto the page, and it's really important that you take a look and read all the information. There's a Q&A section down the bottom as well, so it's got lots of the common questions that come up that are answered. But if you still have questions, you can always contact me, and by email it's hello@nicolemlouis.com. And there are a variety of ways that you can pay, but the program is basically over a 6-month period, as I said, and I hold your hand through the process. There's lots of exciting things that is included in the program to help you embed your learning. So we go over things like your infrastructure. We look at you having different income streams. We look at you actually being able to know how to price and how to market yourself, how to make sure that you're getting money coming in every single month. It's all of those basics that we look at, and I'm excited about the program, excited about the people that have already signed up and joined, who I'm going to be serving, and I'm looking forward to serving more of you. So if you are interested in having the support and the help to actually go through a program, a community embedded program where you're going to actually learn these things and implement it. So by the end of 6 months, you would have created your business as an independent social worker, and we would decide also when it's the time to launch and when for you to leave your full-time role. That might not be yet, it might be in a 1.5 years time, but at least you've got a long runway to build up to that. And so it's going to be an exciting journey. Social workers that have been on the program before have created their business and started it up. I can think of one in South Africa, because my community are worldwide. I have people everywhere, lots of places on the continent of Africa, all over the UK, America, Canada. And so I think of one person in South Africa who started up her business and is doing well, and we're moving it transition to full-time, where she's already got her date and when she wants to do that. So it's exciting to think about the people that are actually taking hold of this and actually changing their life and changing the lives of those that they're serving. So I am excited to serve you. If you have any questions at all, please do let me know. And let me know if you're semi-independent or you are even fully independent. Let me know, what do you think about the content that I've shared here, about the infrastructure, about the branding and understanding how the two connect, and why these two are so vital for you having longevity in your independent practice. Because the reality is, I've seen it so many times where social workers start off, but then they actually don't continue, or they go back to full-time independence because they haven't got this sorted out. So let me know what you think. I would love to hear your input, and thank you so much for listening, your listening ear. And yeah, just let me know if you have any questions, and I will look forward to speaking with you soon. Take care for now.